All right, so I've got another article. If we can switch gears a little bit, I've got an article in CNN where let's see, GE is saying goodbye to its 129-year-old light bulb business. And so what's happened is that GE has gone through a bunch of changes recently because they have mountains of debt and they're trying to restructure their business to focus around their kind of four major areas, which are it was healthcare, it was infrastructure, it was I'm blanking on what the other two were.
Aviation. Yep.
Aviation, and then there was one more. But anyway, so they couldn't find a buyer for this the light bulb part of their company for years. And so finally, they've gotten this smart home company called Savant, who believes that they will be a better fit for that product. And so they're going to buy the GE light bulbs, and then they're going to use them to sell alongside their other smart home solutions. And the thing that I found interesting about this deal is, one, the thing of like businesses pivoting to tricky situations by changing what they do was interesting. But the other thing was that what they're going to do is they're going to have a long-term licensing agreement where this new company, Savant, will be able to still sell the bulbs, but they will be GE branded so that they can capture that brand loyalty. And so I thought it was a little bit interesting because it just kind of shows you how misguided brand loyalty can be if people are buying these light bulbs on the basis, because of the GE name, and the reality is they're just no longer GE bulbs. I'm sure that that comes with some level of kind of quality control or something to it, but I just think it's kind of an interesting topic for discussion on is brand loyalty misguided, and are these long-term licensing agreements disingenuous in any way if the only reason people buy this stuff is because of the name and the name means nothing?
Well, I kind of looked at it from a different angle. I was thinking of, the light bulb was basically the iPad of when it came out, or whatever time frame that is. And it's so funny to me now, it's such like a commodity kind of item, where that was like high tech and very specialized, and only the elite had electric light bulbs in their house or electricity in their house. And to see it come full circle now where GE, when I think GE, I don't think of healthcare or GE finance or, the aviation portion. I think of light bulbs, Thomas Edison. But, for them to sell off that part of their business kind of shows how far and what GE has become from like an innovator to a very commoditized, older, life cycle of the business, that now the thing that basically propelled them and was an emerging technology at one time is now being sold off. Basically, everybody can make a light bulb now. And if you go to Home Depot or, the supermarket, you see nobody, at least in my circle or of anybody that I've met, it's not GE or bust. It's like, what can I buy at a decent price that fits my needs? And so the fact that I guess somebody is willing to buy this segment from GE for what should be a substantial amount of money just to come with the little GE symbol on the light bulb is kind of strange to me, because I don't know necessarily that the marketplace is demanding that kind of name brand, and it's viewed more now as a commodity.
Yeah, I think I had the same feeling, AJ, when I think about when I buy light bulbs. I'm not a brand name shopper when it comes to light bulbs per se. But I guess maybe I am in a different way. Like I tend to trust the store that I buy it from. And I do that with a lot of varieties of like commodity goods, is that the brand that I put my faith in is the retail outlet or the distributor. I kind of think, well, whatever, if it's in this store, then the product selection must be good. Their purchasers have vetted it, so it must be fine. But otherwise, I don't choose a brand name over a generic on a store shelf, generally speaking, for my shopping. But I think that you and I, AJ, are atypical in that point, because that comes back to kind of Charlie's kind of question, which is almost a question about human nature in terms of, isn't it kind of silly that people buy things just because of the brand name on it? And being somebody who doesn't shop brand names, I totally think it's silly. But on the flip side, I also think human nature en masse, that is what we do as human beings. We do buy things based on their brand names, and that brand is, as Gary Vaynerchuk says, brand is everything in terms of the future of business. That it's really about owning brands. So I don't know the business of owning brands well, but I suspect that business includes a lot of kind of what Charlie indicated may be the case, a lot of agreements and quality control measures to protect the brand that you're licensing, right? If your business becomes, I own a brand, and then I license it out at like a stamp of approval to various operators and manufacturers, then it's really like how you control the that brand image, because that's your asset, becomes really important. And I'm sure they've got procedures and legalities and things set up for exactly for that purpose as they go forward with that.
I'm wondering if this is, oh, sorry, Charlie. I'm wondering if this is generational, because I'm remembering back my father, who would have been 80 this year, he was a big tool guy. He was a mechanic, and he always bought Craftsman from Sears because Craftsman had a lifetime warranty on their tools. And then fast forward to now our generation, tools are very much commoditized, and Craftsman doesn't hold that same kind of name brand power, because what Craftsman did was they kind of moved themselves from this elite brand of, free replacement guaranteed for life, to a very kind of substandard brand when they kind of got rolled into Kmart. And that brand, now Kmart went away, and now that brand is kind of the lower end of the market. So it doesn't hold the same brand recognition that it did. And I think the GE light bulb could go the same way. If they're not putting their stamp of approval on something that somebody has strong brand loyalty for, it'll die out with the generation that recognizes that brand. And so that's a very possible outcome of this.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then the other thing that I was thinking about is just that how it just goes to show you that that brand loyalty exists even in areas that you think that it wouldn't, or just how powerful it is. Because it's like with tools, I kind of get that. I kind of could see how somebody would have that. Seems to me like something where brand loyalty would mean a lot, because you use those tools for years, and in a lot of cases you kind of rely on them for your safety if they're depending on what kind of tool they are. And so like with a light bulb, you don't think of it that way, but I guess even that is, like you said, managed by brand loyalty, and that seal of approval really means a lot to some people. So yeah, just kind of an interesting thing to talk about.